Hi, and welcome to House of Dice. My name is Ryan, and today I was joined by Curtis. Today we're playing a 50-point game on the Outlast scenario. And Curtis, who did you bring with you?
I brought Axis from the Convergence of Cyriss.
And I was playing Kreoss 1 from Protectorate of Menoth. So now we'll check out the table and see the lists.
In the middle of the table is the ruined tower, as well as two other ruined structures. They are obstacles that provide cover. There are two dense fog clouds giving concealment, a forest, a stone wall that provides cover and is an obstacle, and two bushes that are obstacles granting concealment. There is also a hill. Convergence of Cyriss is led by Axis, the Harmonic Enforcer. In his battle group is a diffuser, corollary, galvanizer, two inverters, and two ciphers. Protectorate of Menoth is led by High Exemplar Kreoss. In his battle group is a Redeemer, a Crusader, and a Repenter. The Avatar of Menoth joins Kreoss as well. The rest of his army consists of a full unit of Choir, a unit of Knights Exemplar with a command attachment, a minimum unit of Temple Flame Guard, and a Vassal of Menoth. The scenario for today's game is Outlast. Armies will fight over two 12-inch zones. They can be controlled for one control point and dominated for two. Convergence won the roll-off and decides to go first. Menoth takes the left side of the table, and Convergence takes the right. Convergence deploys Axis in the middle of the table, with the corollary, Inverter 1, Cipher 1 to his right, and a Galvanizer behind them. On his left is a Diffuser behind Inverter 2 and Cipher 2. Kreoss deploys in the middle of the table, with Flame Guard to his right, with the Avatar, the Choir, and a Vassal behind them, and a Redeemer taking the far left flank. The Crusader, Repenter, and the Knights Exemplar are on his right. Convergence of Cyriss, turn 1. The Corollary activates first, gaining a focus due to Accumulator. It runs, inducting a focus to Cipher 2. The Cipher activates and runs up beside the forest, inducting a focus to Inverter 2. The Inverter runs up beside the Cipher, inducting a focus to the Diffuser. The Diffuser activates and runs up beside the Inverter, inducting a focus to Inverter 1. The Inverter activates and runs up, joining the row of Warjacks. It inducts a focus over to the Cipher. The Cipher then activates and runs up between the Warjacks and the Ruins. It inducts a focus to the Galvanizer. The Galvanizer runs up behind the line of Warjacks, inducting a focus to the Corollary. Axis activates. He advances up and spends 2 focus to cast Onslaught, giving all of his Warjacks Relentless Charge. Axis spends 2 focus to cast Iron Aggression on the Cipher. This allows it to run, charge, or make trample power attacks without spending a focus, and giving it boosted melee attack rolls. Protectorate of Menoth, turn 1. All the Warjacks gain a focus from power up. The Avatar receives D3 plus 1 focus. It gets 4 focus. The Knights Exemplar activate first, running up towards the zone. A few stay in the dense fog, and others run towards the stone wall. The Temple Flame Guard activate and run towards the zone, skirting the side of the hill. The Redeemer activates and moves up past the Ruin Archway. The Avatar of Menoth runs forward, getting in behind the Flame Guard. The Crusader activates, runs up, and makes his way towards the tower. The Repenter runs up into the dense fog, gaining concealment. The Vassal runs up base to base with the Avatar of Menoth. Kreoss activates, advances towards the tower, and spends 3 focus to cast Lamentation, causing all enemy spells in his control area to cost double. The Warcaster then spends another 3 focus to cast Defender's Ward on the Flame Guard. He camps on 1 focus. Choir advances up and gives passage to all Warjacks, except for the Redeemer. Convergence of Cyriss, turn 2. Axis upkeeps both Onslaught and Iron Aggression, leaving him on 4 focus. The Corollary has 1 focus from the previous turn due to Focus Battery. The Diffuser activates and advances up behind the tower. The Corollary gains a focus from Accumulator and advances up. It faces Cypher 2 and uses Power Transfer to give it 2 focus. Cypher 2 activates, advances up behind the bushes, and enters the zone. It readies its Servopod Mortar and fires a bombardment at the Knight's Exemplar. They are out of range, so the attack automatically misses and scatters. It goes 4 inches to the one direction, hitting 2 Exemplar. It boosts the damage against the first Knight, needing a 9 to kill. He rolls a 10, and the Knight dies, inducting a focus to Inverter 2. Rolling damage for the second Knight, it boosts, inducting a focus back to the Corollary, and rolls a 5. The Knight's armor keeps him safe from the blast. Inverter 2 activates and runs into the zone, being sure to stay out of the Knight's threat range. The focus is inducted to Inverter 1. Inverter 1 runs up to the ruined wall, inducting a focus to Cypher 1. Cypher 1 activates and runs up beside the Inverter, inducting a focus over to the Galvanizer. The Galvanizer runs around the Corollary and gets up to the tower, taking cover. It inducts a focus back to the Corollary's battery. Axis activates and advances towards the zone, staying behind his Warjacks. The Warcaster spends 2 focus to cast Razor Wall, placing a wall template in front of the Knights. Protectorate of Menoth, turn 2. All the Warjacks gain a focus from Power Up. Kreoss spends 2 focus to upkeep Lamentation and Defender's Ward. He then gives 2 focus to the Redeemer and 1 to the Repenter. The Avatar rolls for focus and receives 3 focus. The Knights activate and advance around the zone, trying to remain out of countercharge range of the Warjacks. The choir advances up behind the Warjacks and sing their hymn, Battle. All the Warjacks are affected and get a bonus to their damage rolls. The Flame Guard advance forward and shield wall, trying to protect the left flank of the army with the Avatar. The Avatar activates and advances up behind the shield wall and uses Menoth's Gaze. All enemy models beginning their activation within 8 inches and in the Avatar's line of sight can only advance towards the Avatar of Menoth. The Repenter activates and advances up around the tower. It takes aim at the Galvanizer with its flamethrower. It needs a 7 to hit and it boosts the attack. It rolls an 11 and the attack hits, setting the Warjack on fire. Due to battle, the attack hits at dice -2. Rolling a 3, the attack does 1 damage to column 2. The flames spray out and also hit the diffuser. Needing a 7 to hit, it boosts the attack. Rolling an 8, the attack just makes it, and the Warjack is set on fire. Rolling for damage at dice -2, it rolls a 4, doing 2 damage to column 2 of the diffuser. The Redeemer stands still and aims its Skyhammer rocket launcher at the diffuser. Due to inaccurate, it rolls a 9 to hit and boosts. Rolling a 12, the attack hits. Due to battle, the attack hits at dice -2. Rolling a 6, the attack does 4 damage to column 5. The blast hits the Galvanizer, hitting at dice -8. Rolling an 11, the blast does 3 damage to column 1. The Corollary is also caught in the blast, taking damage at dice -7. Rolling an 8, the blast does 1 damage to column 2 of the Warjack. Shooting and boosting once again, it rolls an 11 and the rocket connects with the Warjack. Rolling for damage, the Redeemer rolls an 11, doing 9 damage to column 6 of the diffuser. This cripples its movement system. Catching the Galvanizer in the blast, it rolls a 5, doing no damage. Rolling blast damage against the Corollary, it rolls double 1s, doing no damage. Loading 1 last rocket into the chamber, it shoots at the crippled diffuser, needing anything but double 1s. Rolling a 5, the rocket hits its target. Boosting damage at dice -2, it rolls a 12, doing 10 damage to column 6 and destroying the diffuser. Rolling for blast damage on the Galvanizer, it rolls an 8, doing no damage. The Corollary takes 1 last blast damage roll, but it rolls a 4, doing no damage. The Crusader runs up to the tower, taking 1 step too far and getting caught in the Inverter's countercharge range. The Inverter charges in with its Macro Pummeler. Needing a 3 to hit, the Warjack rolls an 8 and the attack hits, knocking down the Crusader. Damage on the charge is dice +1. Rolling a 12, it does 13 damage to column 2 taking out the movement system of the Warjack. Kreoss advances up behind the tower, catching Axis in his lamentation range. The Warcaster camps 2 focus. Convergence of Cyriss, turn 3. The Galvanizer checks to see if its fire goes out. It fails its check and takes a fire damage roll at dice -4. Rolling a 7, it does 3 damage to column 2. Axis has to pay double to upkeep Onslaught and Iron Aggression, leaving him on 2 focus. The Corollary gains a focus from Accumulator. It then advances towards the tower. Using Power Transfer, it gives 3 focus to the Inverter. Axis activates and advances towards the zone. He then uses his feat, Circumpotence. All enemy models in Axis's control range suffer -2 speed and strength, and cannot charge, slam, or make trample power attacks. Friendly models in Axis's control range then gain +2 speed and strength. The feat catches most of the Menite army, leaving out a few Knights and the Redeemer. Inverter 1 charges the Avatar of Menoth with its Macro Pummeler, inducting a focus to Cypher 1. It needs a 3 to hit. Rolling a 6, the Pummeler crashes into the Avatar, knocking him down. The damage is dice +1 due to the feat. Rolling an 8, it does 9 damage to column 4 of the Avatar. Striking with its Meteor Hammer, the attack automatically hits due to knockdown. Damage is straight dice due to Chain Weapon. The Inverter rolls a 10 to column 3, crippling the movement system of the Avatar of Menoth. The Inverter buys another attack with its Meteor Hammer, inducting a focus to the Cypher. It smashes the Warjack, rolling a 6. It does 6 damage to column 4, crippling the right arm. Buying one last attack, it attacks the Avatar, inducting a focus over to the Cypher. Rolling a 5, it does 5 damage to column 6, leaving the Avatar on just 2 boxes. The Cypher advances up into the shield-walled Flame Guard. It strikes at the Menites with its Piston Spike. Boosting the attack, it needs an 8 to hit. This inducts a focus to Inverter 2. It rolls a 7 and the Menite dodges the attack. Using its second Piston Spike, it strikes at the Flame Guard again. It rolls a 9 and the attack hits, automatically killing the warrior. The Cypher spends a focus to buy an attack and it boosts a hit, inducting 2 focus to Inverter 2. It rolls an 8 and the Flame Guard is killed by the Heavy Warjack. The Inverter activates and attacks the knockdown Crusader with its Meteor Hammer. The attack automatically hits and it rolls for damage at straight dice due to the feat. It rolls 10 damage to column 1, crippling the Crusader's left arm. It buys an attack, inducting a focus to Cypher 2. It rolls 9 damage to column 6, doing just enough damage to destroy the Warjack. The Inverter buys an attack on the Repenter, inducting a focus to Cypher 2. Striking with its Meteor Hammer, it needs a 5 to hit. Rolling a 4, the attack misses. Buying one last attack and inducting a focus to the Cypher once again, it attacks the Repenter. Rolling an 8, the attack hits. Damage is dice +2. It rolls a 4, doing 6 damage to column 4 of the Light Warjack. Cypher 2 activates and charges the Repenter, and due to Onslaught, it has Pathfinder. The focus is inducted to the Galvanizer. It needs a 5 to hit, but rolling double 1s, the attack misses. Using its second Piston Spike, it strikes at the Repenter. It rolls a 10 and the attack hits the Light Warjack. Damage is dice +3. It rolls a 12, doing 15 damage, crippling the right arm, left arm, and cortex of the Repenter. The Cypher buys another attack and boosts to hit, inducting 2 focus to the Galvanizer. Rolling a 12, the attack hits. Rolling for damage, it rolls a 10, doing 13 damage and destroys the Repenter. The Galvanizer activates and advances towards the tower. It attacks the Flame Guard with its Metal Saw. Needing an 8 to hit, it boosts the attack, inducting a focus to the Corollary. It rolls a 12 and the Saw hits the Menite. It boosts damage, inducting another focus to the Corollary. Damage is dice -1 and it rolls a 10, killing the warrior. It buys an attack on Cypher 1, inducting a focus to the Corollary. It needs a 3 to hit and rolls a 9. Due to the feat, it hits at dice -5. It rolls an 8 and the Metal Saw causes 3 damage to column 5 of the Warjack. Protectorate of Menoth, turn 3. The Redeemer gains a focus due to power up. Kreoss drops all upkeeps and gives 1 focus to the Redeemer. The Avatar rolls for focus and gets 2 focus. Choir activates and advances up. They sing their hymn Battle to the Redeemer and the Avatar. The Vassal activates and empowers the Redeemer, giving it 1 focus. The Knight's Exemplar activate, and one of the ones unaffected by the feat run up and engage the 2 Warjacks. The rest advance. Kreoss advances up and casts his feat Menoth's Wrath, knocking down all enemy models in his control range. The light Warjacks and Axis are knocked down. The heavy Warjacks are sturdy and can't be knocked down. Kreoss casts Immolation for 2 focus onto Axis, hitting on anything but double 1s. He rolls a 6 and the attack hits. The Warcaster boosts the damage. Rolling a 7, he does 1 damage. Kreoss casts Immolation again. Rolling a 7, the attack hits. He boosts the damage, but rolls a 6, doing no damage to Axis. The Redeemer activates and advances, getting Axis into its sights. It shoots its Skyhammer rocket launcher, hitting on a 4. Rolling a 6, the attack hits. It boosts the damage at dice -4. Rolling a 13, it does 9 damage, but the Warcaster spends a focus to overboost his shield. He takes 4 damage. The Redeemer loads another rocket into the chamber, but rolls double 1s and the attack misses. It drifts 5 inches to the 1 direction and misses entirely. The Redeemer recalibrates its rocket launcher and fires again. It boosts to hit and rolls a 10, hitting the knockdown Warcaster. It boosts damage, and rolling a 12, it does 8 damage. But Axis overboosts his shield 1 last time, bringing it down to 3 damage. The Avatar activates, spends a focus to stand up, and attacks the Inverter with his crippled right arm, hitting on anything but 1 or 2. It rolls a 6 and the attack hits. It boosts the damage, and due to battle, it hits at dice +2. It rolls a 12, doing 14 damage to column 2. The Avatar then uses its shield to attack the Inverter. Rolling a 7, the attack hits. Damage on the attack is dice -3. It rolls a 6, doing 3 damage to column 2. The Temple Flame Guard activate, and 3 warriors make a combined melee attack, hitting on anything but double 1s. The attack hits, and damage is dice -6. They roll a 6, doing no damage to the Warjack. Convergence of Cyriss, turn 4. The Galvanizer takes a check to see if its fire goes out. It fails its check and takes a fire damage roll at dice -4. Rolling a 4, it does no damage. The Corollary activates and forfeits its movement to stand. It then uses Power Transfer to give 3 focus to the Inverter. The Inverter activates and advances up to Kreoss. It attacks the Warcaster with its Macro Pummeler, needing a 7 to hit. It boosts the attack. Rolling an 11, the Macro Pummeler rams into the Warcaster, knocking him down. The damage is dice +4. Rolling a 9, the attack does 13 damage to the High Exemplar. The Inverter attacks with its Meteor Hammer, automatically hitting the knockdown Warcaster. Damage is dice +1, it boosts the attack, and it rolls a 6. The attack kills the Warcaster.
So that leads to a Convergence victory. So Curtis, you won. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was the main idea behind your list?
Well, the original idea of the list was with the theme force and having every single model on the table be able to countercharge. So with the extra servitors, even at 50 points, I get 9 free ones.
Yeah.
Which can also shield guard. But with this one, I was able to just bring a lot of heavies, which I think your list had a bit of trouble dealing with.
Yeah, I definitely had a hard time armor cracking there. Mm-hmm. I was really reliant on Avatar getting in, and unfortunately I left them just a little bit too far forward. And then I also happened to write off my Crusader by just, I wanted them to touch the wall to block line of sight to Kreoss, and realized that put me right into your countercharge range.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the big thing. So going into the next game, what would you do differently in the game if you...
I think for this game, I was really happy because I had one perfect induction chain.
Yeah.
It was just perfect. But for the next game, I think being a little more aggressive with some of the things.
Okay.
held back, I think, until turn 3 mostly.
Yeah.
And there were no points scored on scenarios. So.
No, yeah, we were both pretty much jammed up in the zones. And, next game, I need to really pay attention to spacing. If Avatar was a little bit further back, I would have been able to counter-strike instead of be right in the fight, and you would have cleared out the Temple Flame Guard, but would have been totally exposed to Avatar. And I feel like the Dice Gods decided to be very angry against me, because on my feat turn, Kreoss did a grand total of 3 damage, yeah, and it was rolling a 7 and a 6 on 2 boosted immolations.
Yeah.
That was sad. And then my Redeemer rolled double 1s on one of his shots, and then even the deviation missed. So it weighed in the hope, pretty poorly there, though obviously relying on luck to win is not winning, really, it's hoping. But I feel like I got bit a little hard there, but really in the end I should have had my knights I think a little closer into the zone so they could have threatened Axis at that point.
Yeah.
Because they were just too far off to the flank to be able to threaten him.
Yeah, if they're in a little bit more than even under the feet, I think you could have reached him.
Yeah. And that, or you would have had to move your the 2 heavy warjacks over to handle the knights. They were just so far out of your area they weren't a threat to you.
Yeah.
So you're able to bring all your people into Kreoss. Other than that, I think it was a fun game. I really enjoyed myself and hope you did as well.
Yeah.
And if you guys like what you saw, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. And I've also recently opened up a Patreon, so if you'd really like to support the channel, be sure to check that out. The link is in the description below. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a good one.